Hey, what's up guys? It's Tom here. Welcome back to another video. In this video, I got to interview a friend of mine. His name is Andri, and recently he sold his Amazon FBA business for $500,000 in cash. So in this interview, I got the opportunity to pick his brain, ask him why would he sell his Amazon business, how did he sell his Amazon business, what did he do before Amazon, what are some of the mistakes that he made along the way, what are some of the good things that he made along the way. And let me tell you something, Andri is an open book. He shared his brand with us. He went in detail about how his struggles as well as the successes he had along this journey. And this is also an opportunity for my students to actually attend this interview and ask him questions directly on our Thursday night coaching calls, which is a perk of mine if you join the FBA Masterclass, which is my Amazon FBA course. If you're interested in that, feel free to click on the very first link down below. It is made for beginners, intermediate, even advanced folks who want to learn how to sell on Amazon from me. But having said that, I really think this is going to benefit a lot of you. If you have the intention, if you want to sell your business one day for $200, $500, $1 million, whatever it might be, then I think you're gonna get tons and tons of value from this video. So if you like this, sit back, relax, watch the whole thing, and I think you'll really love it. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and let me know in the comment section what other videos would you like to see from me. Otherwise, enjoy this interview. But I realized that it was Thanksgiving in the States today, which is a big deal, right? It's like
That's right. Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. So tonight I realized that maybe the amount of people that are going to hop on to listen to this might not be that many because people are probably having dinner and so on and so forth. So I asked the group, I'm like, do you guys want me to delay this call for next week? And then I don't think people cared that much. They were just like, it's up to you, have it, or it's up to Andri. Like, you know, if you want to have it, have it. If you don't, like, you can do it next week. So, anyways, we're having it tonight. But yeah, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Do we have anybody in the States? Karen says, I cooked all damn day, but I'll not miss this call. Awesome. Esther said,
Thank you,
happy
Karen.
Thanksgiving, already eating dinner right now. Do we have a lot of Americans? My American fellow friends. Tristan is from New York. Abby's from DC. Arthur's from Cali. Christina's from New Jersey. So what might be happening right now, Andri, is people are gathering around at their dinner table, eating turkey, and then they got their TV up, listening to me and you talk. That would be
dreams come true.
Yeah, that would be interesting. I miss eat early so I don't miss the call. Awesome. Cool. Well, let's get the party started. So welcome everybody. Hope you guys are staying safe. Hope you guys are doing well. I am really excited because on Monday or Tuesday, I got a text message from Andri and it read like, I sold my business. I got the money in my account, right? And then I said two things. Number one, congratulations. Number two, you got to come on this student call to share your story with us. And he said no. Okay, guys, he said no. He said, you know what? Let me record whatever I got to do because I got to share my story first. And then I can come on your podcast or interview like a week later. And you know what Tom said? Tom said, come on, man. Come on the podcast, come on the interview, and let's make it happen for my students. And sometimes when you ask things 2 times, the second time turns from a no to a yes. So we made it happen, guys. We made it happen.
Sales lesson right there.
We made it. Never take no for an answer, guys. That is the sales lesson. I remember working in sales. So many people will say no to me, but then you can't take that no. I mean, there's a certain line that you can't cross. Like if Andri says, look, I really can't do it, I'm not going to say like convince him again. But anyways, that's just a quick lesson for everybody. So Andri, first things first, congratulations. Not a lot of people
Thanks, man.
can say that they've exited their business and you're one of them. So I wanted you to come on today to share your authentic story with everybody here. So maybe I think it's appropriate to start off this interview with just a very quick intro of who you are, how did you get into Amazon, and just give everybody a quick give everybody a little bit of context to what this interview is going to be about.
For sure. Well, thanks for having me, first of all, Tom. And thanks to everyone who's spending this evening with us. I definitely am not taking this for granted. A little bit about myself. As you can probably say by my accent, I'm not originally from North America. English is not my language. I moved here 7 years ago to Canada from Ukraine. That's in Eastern Europe. Um, Happy to be in North America for sure. I am pro capitalism, and I'm glad that I got into this business for sure. It's been quite a big game and a fun game to play, and I have no regrets. And I feel like I'm only starting. I just proved the concept to myself, and I'm ready to start the next thing.
Awesome. So how did you get into Amazon? Like what were you doing before Amazon? How did you get into Amazon? You were working a 9 to 5 job in Kelowna. Talk to people about that real quick.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I lived in Kelowna before I moved to Vancouver. I worked in a fairly traditional setting, a corporate job in real estate development. So gotta wear a suit and be nice to everybody, and smile a lot. And the hierarchy is pretty clear there. You have a boss, you have a manager, and stuff like that. I liked it overall because I like real estate and I like the world of business. But I quickly figured out that I won't be able to live on my own terms if I continue that career, uh, because it always requires you to trade your time for money. You have to be there. You have to sit in the office. You have to meet someone. It requires you to do the actual work instead of you owning a system that does the work for you, which is what I've been doing with the e-commerce business.
Awesome. So you had that desire first. So you were working your 9 to 5 job. You liked what you were doing, but then you realized that I can't do, like, if I want to live the life that I want to live one day with freedom, this is not the path for me. So I have to
Yeah.
find another path. So how did you land on the Amazon FBA path? Did you type in, how to make money online quick and fast overnight, and then Amazon FBA popped up, or what happened?
I think I'm weird in that way. I don't really research stuff on using Google that often. I tend to talk to people first, and I think then my intuition can tell me whether it's for me or not. So
Mm-hmm.
I talked to a few people who I knew were doing some kind of online business and asked them about what's happening in the world and what I could try. And one of the things that popped up in that conversation with my buddy was, hey, I know somebody who's doing Amazon FBA. Seems like it's working for them. So I'm like, can you introduce me? And then I talked to this person. His name is Leo. He used to live in Malaysia. He's Ukrainian too. He worked for Mind Valley, if somebody knows the company. And he started that business probably like a year before I did. And I could ask him a few questions. And that was the first real person. Well, there was a Zoom call as well,
Mm.
just like here, who told me, hey, it's real. This is what I do. This is how much I make. These are the bumps I've been going through. And I pretty much could take it from that conversation that it's going to work for me because
Mm-hmm.
my parents run a classic old school retail business, so I had a good idea of how that's done. And online is something I was preaching to them for quite a while. So I was like, yeah, why not? Let's try. Let's research. So that was a big thing for me to talk to someone who was actually doing that in 2016. I think that was when I first learned about it.
Oh wow, 2016. Awesome. So when did you get into Amazon then? Like, did you wait for like 5 months, 8 months, or did you like jump into it right away? How did the beginning work?
Yeah, pretty much jumped into it right away. I was researching for quite a while though, so I think I spent like 3 months researching products. Um,
How did you learn about researching products? Because at the time there weren't like a lot of Amazon courses available, right? Like I
True.
remember I started around the same time as you, and like not a whole lot of people were talking about Amazon FBA. So how did you actually learn about like how did you learn, I guess, initially when there weren't a lot of information out?
Yeah, there were some courses. I don't remember any right off the bat, but I didn't take any. Uh, what I did, I scheduled these calls with Leo in Malaysia, and I had like once every couple of weeks a call to go through what I was working on, and he could steer me in the right direction, right? And then I would just use YouTube to see how to research. I think he shared the initial spreadsheet that he had, which is very, like, it looks prehistoric, very simple on how to research. And I didn't really follow it to the T, but I did use it as a good guideline. And I think I was going through like hundreds of products and narrowed it down to 50, and then narrowed it down to top 10, narrowed it down to top three. And then one of these top three was my original product idea that I was like, hey, all of these kind of make sense business wise, but I kind of see how I can build a brand around this particular one. So I
Hmm.
decided to try.
Are you able to share with us the brand? I mean, you're very open with the brand name. So can you talk to us a little bit about what the actual product was and what the brand and the vision that you had?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's I don't know many people actually who talk about their business for some reason if they're in the space, but I've always been open and I didn't see any issues with that whatsoever. So my brand name, the one that I sold, so it's not mine anymore, is Travelization. Actually, one of the products is on the background here if you guys are watching video. So these are scratch off maps, travel maps, and poster hanger frames. And there are quite a few product ideas that I also shared with the new owner that they could add to the brand. But basically, I started with the scratch off maps. That was the very first product. It was a black design one, and it did go fairly well as soon as I launched, because I launched in late November actually, and it's a giftable product. So there's a little bit of seasonality to that, and it did work for me at that time because I was able to take advantage of the seasonality of the business.
Hmm. And what was kind of like your first, I guess, first few months? Like how fast did you grow your business? Give us some numbers, give us some context.
First days, obviously it was like few units a day, but it was quickly picking up. And that definitely felt amazing. I was like, I'm onto something. It definitely works. I had no idea it was seasonal at that point. But basically in December, I was sitting in some of the meetings around the conference table, checking my screen, seeing that it's like 10 a.m. in BC, West Coast, and I already made, well, sold over $1,000. And it's like first or second week of me doing the business. That felt pretty cool. I was
Yeah, and
like,
then
yeah, I got
you're
to
like
learn more about
I
it.
made more money by 10 a.m. Sitting on this table than I did like throughout the entire day at my 9 to 5 job.
Pretty much.
So
Yeah.
Scratch Off Map is a very interesting product because I remember specifically when I got into this Amazon FBA space around the same time as you. Every now and then, okay, guys, every now and then there's these certain products that come along and like everybody and their grandmothers launch it. For
Hmm.
example, fidget spinners was one of them. Everybody launched that. Uh, Felt letterboards, that's another one, right? Everybody launched felt letterboards. I don't know what it is. Like maybe the numbers look good and the reviews are low, and so people just did it. But I remember scratch
Yeah,
off
probably.
maps and posture correctors. Everybody launched posture correctors. Okay, it was another very popular product. But I remember scratch off map was also along that list, right?
Yeah, it was always on the list of products not to launch when I was
R-
checking later.
Right.
uh,
So what was
yeah.
the so share us a little bit about that experience. Like, I mean, people didn't recommend that product, but you ended up doing pretty decent at it. Like, what made your listing, I guess, stand out? And I remember specifically, like, your product is much more premium in terms of pricing than all the others, correct?
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
selling the most expensive scratch off maps in the world.
So talk to us about that, right? That's very fascinating to me. So a lot of people think Amazon is a marketplace where people shop for pricing, which is true. But you're selling the most expensive scratch off map on Amazon's platform. Um, Scratch off map to me, it's like a scratch off map and a scratch off map. It's like a map and a map. It's a kind of like a commodity product to me, at least. So how are you able to justify charging a lot more? How much more are you charging, by the way, over your average competitors? And how are you able to do that?
On average, I think it was around 22, $25 on average. And my best seller has always been around 30, 32, depending on the seasonality. I'm pretty sure the new owner will be able to raise the price now in December to like 35 with no issues and still sell the same or more. Yeah, that's around. And but at the same time, some Chinese made competition sells it for $10. So I'm competing with all of them from 10 to 30, and I'm at the higher tier of that price.
So how are you able to do that? Like yeah, like how are you able to compete with them?
Extreme dedication to quality and customer service.
Mm,
And also on the listing itself, visual appeal is very important. So I took good care of listing images, videos, and pretty much all of the reviews were real, honest reviews.
mm,
People were enjoying using the product. They love the premium feel, the look. It's made in Europe. The map specifically, the frames are from China, but the map is made in Europe, in my home country, in Ukraine. And the technology they use there is different than Chinese. And if you actually put two of the maps side by side, any of my competitor and mine, you'll see that mine feels much better. And there's the technology is built in a way that it's fairly impossible to scratch anything accidentally, while other technologies sometimes deliver scratch product and people are not happy. That's one.
interesting.
Two, making it in Ukraine allowed me to comply with the United Nations map regulations. So I was able to say that this is the only United Nations compliant map design. Whilst in China, if you make a map of the world, you have to comply with the Chinese regulations, and obviously they look at the world differently, specifically in Taiwan, Hong Kong, stuff like that. So
Oh,
some people
interesting.
care about it. So that was another differentiation. And
Mm,
then I also had a Facebook group, so a community for travelers. So anyone who buys the product would join the group, and they can exchange their travel advice, get recommendations, where to go, when to go. Yeah, I think that community was a good icing on the cake, but definitely not the most important thing. But it helped with building the brand, launching new products, and creating more than just an Amazon brand, but more like
mhm.
a community and a brand on its own.
How did you get people to join the Facebook group? Was it just like an insert card and letting people know about the Facebook group and then they join and you engage with them? How did that process work?
Yeah, that was part of it. And also, everybody I knew who likes traveling, I would invite. I was myself part of all of these travel groups. And some of the people that I only know online were able to join as well. And I knew that they were engaging and active in those other groups. And I could transfer their engagement into my group that way. But most of the people are actually past buyers. So they land on my Facebook community page because they bought the product, and that's through insert cards. I encourage them to go join.
Hmm.
I actually built a many chat flow. So when you buy a product, I promise a freebie. People go through the managed flow. They register for their warranty. They get their freebie, which is a booklet with basically a travel recommendation booklet, super nicely done, but it's not a physical product.
Mm.
I'd never had
It's like a digital, it's
anyone.
like an ebook. It's like an ebook.
Exactly, an ebook. Yeah,
Mm.
no one ever complained, but some other sellers were like, "Oh wow, you're actually fooling people. They think they'll receive a free product." But I was like, "No, I didn't say a free product, but
Hmm.
everybody was happy. Like I could see people responding that I
Hmm.
prepared a really good ebook for them." And after that was another freebie. Hey, join this group. These are the benefits, and most people do join, and they also submit their email then when a request to join the group. So I was able to build a little bit of email list. So everything I could do effortlessly, I was doing to build a brand outside of Amazon. But up until the sale happened, I didn't really have any other sales channels. If
Mm.
I were to keep the business, that's what I'd work on moving forward right now. Because I already got approved for a Walmart marketplace. I could create listings pretty much everywhere and use someone like ShipBob or Deliver to do 3PL
Yeah,
deliveries.
totally. I'm actually just gonna show your listing here on the screen. Guys, if you want to know kind of like what a 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 listing looks like this is a good example. So this is actually Andre's product,
Yeah,
Travelization.
not mine anymore.
Not yours anymore. I'm sorry, someone else's. But you started this. Now, I mean,
Yeah.
even if you just look at the images, right? Like these images are really well done. How did you are these Photoshop images or are they real images?
No,
Where'd
real
you get these done?
models, real images.
Yeah, where'd you get
I
these done?
I I believe, and that's what I preach to some of the one-on-one students I have. Images is the main thing on the listings. Like whoever I ask, in myself included, nobody really reads what you put into the bullet points and description. Through
Yeah.
the images, you communicate the value and you communicate what it is, and that's what sells.
Mm-hmm.
So I did everything possible to split test and make these images stand out and look like a premium product, so people can easily justify paying extra.
Where'd you get these photos done?
These ones were done in Kyiv, Ukraine, because that's where the
Okay,
manufacturing is. It was
got
kind
it.
of logistically easier. And also, they charge usually less than North American photographers.
Yeah,
And then I'm also a perfectionist in a way, visually.
yeah.
So I made sure that it's done in like super well.
Very nice. Guys, like I want you to kind of look at these. They look very clean, but more importantly, these words are very easy to read. I see some images where people are like, "Oh, Tom told me to add text to the images." They add like these massive, super small text, impossible to read. You got to really put yourself in the customer's shoe. But if you just take a look at these images, they're very, very clean. They show us the features and the benefits. They show, all these different things. So, they got videos here as well. And then over here, you got really good copywriting. So you can see that this is
Yeah,
filled out
pretty
really
much
well.
filling out the right keywords in there, to be honest with you.
Yeah, yeah. And then if you take a look at the bottom over here, we got a lot like from the brand. Hey, we got to change this. This is or maybe the owner is going to keep it. Who knows?
I don't
Um,
access the account anymore.
yeah. So we got from the brand, and then this is enhanced brand content, right? So I mean, guys, like, can you see what I mean when this is a really good listing? Like maybe like it just visually looks so good. And then obviously the reviews, I mean, 5 stars out of 5, like that's 4.8 out of
These
5.
are real reviews.
Yeah, these are real reviews. I mean, it's pretty hard to get fake reviews these days, to be honest. But I mean, this is a great listing. So if you guys are ever stuck, like, I don't know if my listing is good enough, or I want to see an example of a good listing, come on Andre's listing. It's called Travelization, and just basically, use this as an example. Okay, cool, awesome. So, um, okay, let's talk a little bit about, I guess, your journey as like an Amazon FBA seller, because I know that you went through like ups and downs. There was a lot of like bad things that happened to you because the listing itself, it's like you're competing with Chinese manufacturers, and sometimes they're absolutely ruthless. So what were some of the bad days of your Amazon FBA journey? Like, what were some of the days that you were just like, I don't want to do this anymore? Did you have those days, or was this just all like a smooth sailing? Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, good question. I usually say that anything worth having doesn't come easy, and maybe because of that, it works that way to me because I believe in that, you know. but uh, but the biggest challenge I had to go through was in 2018. So that was still a fairly new business. I think about a year into it. I received a batch of 5,000 units from my older manufacturer, the previous one, and they ended up being 10 to 15% defective. I didn't have proper inspection process in place back then, so that taught me a lot, obviously. But what happened is I was just sitting in my office doing my 9 to 5 job, scrolling through my emails on a break, and I noticed some emails coming, like quite a lot of emails as for an average day, from people who bought my products saying that they can't use it, they couldn't scratch map. That's quite a big problem for a scratch map, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I started receiving 1 2 star reviews, and I could see that there's an issue. So at that point, I had to recall all of the inventory. I didn't want to risk and lose my ranking. All the negative reviews I still have are pretty much from that incident.
Mm-hmm.
And everything went to a warehouse in New York. I asked some people to inspect it, record videos, give me their feedback. So they did. I could see that some of them are fine, but a lot of them had issues. So I reached out to the manufacturer. They didn't really fully take responsibility for the problem. They were like, oh, maybe something happened on the way. Maybe they ship it in super hot containers, whatever. But like I could see that some other products made around the same time by the same manufacturer had similar issues. So I could see that
Mm-hmm.
there's something in technology. So that pretty much cost me 5 months, 4 to 5 months being out of stock,
Wow.
and losing all of that inventory. We basically had to dispose all of it because I didn't want to risk my brand reputation. So that
Mm.
was around 35,000 in total cost lost
Jeez.
US dollars. And
Wow.
at that point, I'm losing my day job, and yeah, I basically had to make a decision to work on improving the process and selling my townhome. At the time, I used to have a little townhome in Kelowna in order
Guys,
to
hang on,
save
hang
the
on.
business.
Sorry, Andre, just wait. Guys, if you're watching this right now, if you're one of my FBA masterclass students, please do not sell your house to put the money into Amazon. I cannot take that burden. Okay. If you do, don't tell me. I please, because I wouldn't be able to sleep at night knowing one of my students went all in and Amazon sold their townhouse, bought inventory and
100%, not a good idea.
yeah, please don't do that. Anyways, continue.
So yeah, that was quite a bold move because who guarantees you that the next manufacturing batch is going to be better, right?
Yeah.
But I did put better systems in place in order to check. So it's like a fairly complicated inspection system at this point. And I pretty much didn't have any other options. I didn't want to go and find another job. I wanted to travel. That's why I started the business. So I bought a ticket to Bali, send inventory in the warehouses, flew to Bali and worked from there. So the next 8 months, I was pretty much traveling the world, exploring what I wanted to explore. And from time to time, I would spend weeks working, and I was able to recover the business, recover the rank and everything. But it was pretty painful to say the least.
So you sold your townhouse and you packed up your bags, you went traveling and working. So you lived a true digital nomad life.
Yeah, that was the goal when I was starting the business.
And of course, Bali is the first place anybody goes with that vision, right? It's like, oh,
Exactly.
Bali is the place. It's so funny. I had my first taste of digital nomad life back in 2015 or 16 when my girlfriend and I went to Bali as well. And I remember just looking at some of these people that are like working on their laptops, and then they're white people. They're not Balinese. Like
Yeah.
they're people from another country that are living in Bali, that are not from Bali, that are making money off their laptop. And then I'm like coming back to Vancouver. I'm like, shit, like I would love to do that. And my goal, guys, I kid you not, I has always been um my Amazon journey goal was to make $10,000 a month in net income so that I can just go to Bali and just like live happily there, because you don't need to, because the cost of living is very cheap in Bali. But that never really happened. But maybe soon, maybe soon. So what was that like? I mean, you were traveling, you were I remember, like, I follow on Instagram and Facebook, and you were just like, how many countries did you go to? You went to a lot of places, didn't you?
Not too many, to be honest with you. I think about maybe 7 to 8 countries in that 8 month trip.
Yeah.
But we experienced them a lot. Like we lived in a new country for a while, and
Hmm.
was what was Bali, so Indonesia, Thailand, Cambodia, Singapore, Malaysia. I think then we flew to Mexico,
Yeah,
spent there
yeah.
like
You
two
lived in
months.
Mexico for a long time, right?
Yeah, about two months and something. Then
Mhm.
also in the United States, in Washington State, and we explored a little bit around there.
Yeah.
So that's about it.
What was that like?
You mean Mexico or
No,
United States or where?
what was like traveling a lot, like traveling, working, digital nomad, like you don't have any
I
possessions.
I'm happy I did that. I wanted to do that, and I think I needed at that time to have that freedom of location independence. That pretty much it was a proof of concept in a way that this business can actually be run from anywhere. So that was nice, but I did find myself not as productive as I am when I'm in my office,
Yeah.
and ideally North America. For me, I feel like you have to be in that mood or surrounded with the right people doing similar things in order
Hmm.
to grow fast. But it was an enjoyable journey for sure. Wasn't always comfortable. Wasn't always like smooth, but it was a fun adventure, and that's something I'll be able to tell stories about to my kids and grandkids probably.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Dude, you know what would have been cool? Like just kind of me brainstorming. It's like you did a vlog series of you and your wife traveling the world, but you guys used a scratch off map, and like you guys will literally travel like 197 places in the world, and then like you start like a mini documentary and put it on YouTube, and then you direct all those traffic to like the product. I think that would be really, really cool.
I wouldn't have time to run the business then.
No, no, you probably have to hire like a videographer and everything to
Right.
follow you around and do that. Okay, so what are some of the lessons you learned along the way? What are, if you can, I know you said no regrets, but I think everything happens for a reason, and whatever you're going through is meant for you, not against you.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
so
That's a
but
big
but
lesson.
going back, I think it's also important to take away some of the lessons so that you can apply to your next business and you won't make the same mistakes. Obviously, we talked about inspection. That's one. What are other things that you're looking back, you're like, wow, like only if I did that, my business, maybe I would have sold it for a little more or a little bit more profit, whatever it might be.
I think most of anybody's success comes to mindset. So, as an entrepreneur, and the reason I chose this path, you kind of have to grow. There's no way you can build a better business if you're not becoming better yourself. So you have to work on your mindset all the time. And for me, I have some morning rituals, and I remind myself what I'm about, what I'm after, and stuff like that. So I feel like that's very important when you're doing something out of ordinary. And building a business is something out of ordinary. 9 to 5 is ordinary. And if you
Hmm.
want to live a different life, you have to think differently. And what's happening in your head changes a lot. So one of the revelations, just as you said, was that whatever happens, it's not actually a problem, it's a lesson. And with the last, for example, with the quality inspection issues, like now my systems are amazing. Like whoever inherited the business, they're happy with what I've built, and it wouldn't have happened otherwise,
Right.
right? And he might have had that risk moving forward, or me in the future with some like bigger amounts of money too. So whatever happens, and I had lots of different problems along the way, but it's always for you, not to you. Like it's not happening
Hmm.
against you. It's not to punish you or whatever. It's to make you a better entrepreneur.
Hmm.
And with that mindset, nothing really threatens you. Whatever happens, you'll be able to recover. Like think of the worst case scenarios. They're still not that bad.
Hmm.
Really. Like even if, let's say, you launch a product, doesn't go well, most likely you'll be able to break even and learn your lessons and launch another one more successfully.
Hmm.
In terms of building the actual business, I feel it's very important for people not to think of money only. Money is important, and you need to find an opportunity that you see yourself in for a while. Ideally, it's an evergreen niche. But if you only think about profits, you may be delivering a worse experience than some of your competition to the end customer. But if you care about the customer first of all, less about the competition, you focus on how to make their experience better, what problems you solve, and how you can make it better than anybody else, then it will always grow because people will feel that care, that passion. They will support the brand if they know your story. That's what I've learned. Like part of the reason I didn't hide my products or anything, because I find people to be good and
Hmm.
they support others going after their dreams,
Hmm.
right? So I feel like that helped a lot too. Um, Branding is important. It's not like I don't recommend people to treat this business as an Amazon business. It's your business, and if it's your business, it's your customer. Whatever Amazon thinks, you have to take care of your customers, and they will stay with you for the lifetime. If you don't, they'll just buy whatever's cheaper, right? But if you do care about them, it's evident in your products, in your packaging, in your communities, in your emails, in everything.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Hmm.
these are the few lessons, but I may have some more. If if people have questions, I'm happy to answer.
Yeah, absolutely. So why did you decide to sell this business? Talk to us about that process. When did you get it listed? How does selling a business even work? Like who do you sell it to? Like who bought it? How did you like did you post an ad on Craigslist be like, "Oh, I'm selling my Amazon FBA business." How does that process work, and when give us a little bit of a kind of a story along the selling process.
Yeah, man, that's quite a journey. Selling a business is a whole new animal, and it's been fun. Um, and there's a whole industry around it. Like I can see some of the biggest companies in the states now are the ones who buy and grow Amazon-based businesses. Not Amazon, but e-commerce businesses. But I think most of them are dependent on Amazon at this point. So how I did about it, how I went about it was, first of all, you keep hearing these stories that people exit their businesses and it seems like they're happy because they have a lot of money, right? Like all of a sudden. Um, to me, like I was running this business fairly lean. I live a simple lifestyle. I didn't pay myself very much, but I was always reinvesting to grow the brand. Uh, and I decided, hey, I was working on this for like almost 3 years at that point. I should probably cash out and see if there's actual value. Maybe I'm just passionate about it and I'm delusional, right? But if somebody wants to buy it, it means that I built something of value. So to me, this exit is more like a proof of concept that whatever I built has some value, and business-minded people are interested in what I'm able to create. So about 1.5 years ago or so, I set myself a goal and I wrote it down, that I want to sell the business for 500,000, so 500,000. To me, that was a huge number. I didn't really pay myself very much, maybe a few grand a month at the most, and then next month I could not pay myself because I need to buy more inventory and stuff. It was still a roller coaster. Uh, wasn't really stable. So that goal felt incredibly scary in a good way. My hand was shaking, but I was like, okay, um, if other people sell their businesses for that much, if I set this goal, I'll just reverse engineer what needs to happen, and that's what I did. So I talked to a few business brokers, so companies who sell businesses, and I asked them what needs to look like, what it needs to look like in numbers in order to qualify to be that sale amount. I had a much better idea at that point after I talked to them, and later on, early this year, I decided to reach out to someone to sign up and start the process of selling. So that's a lot of work, actually. Some of you may know if you've been through it, but basically, it's working with the books, making sure everything's in order, making sure all the systems are run smoothly, nothing risky can happen moving forward. So it has to be a fairly well balanced mechanism before you can sell, because no one's gonna buy something that's kind of half made. And I started with Quiet Light Brokerage. That's the name of the business brokerage, because they charge less in commissions compared to some other business brokers. So they charge like 10%, I think, on the total amount. Um, I spent about, I think, 6 to 7 months with them, but no buyers really offered me what I wanted. I didn't really like them that much, and to me, it's important to pass it on to somebody who can actually grow the brand, not just use it as a cash cow. So I decided to stop and try somebody else, and I did switch to Empire Flippers, and that's who I sold it with. Even though Empire Flippers charges 15% commission, they were able to get the valuation higher up, and they definitely had way more attention from potential buyers. I had more calls, more interviews, more offers. There was a little bit of a bidding war. Two people were interested, and whoever gave more ended up taking the business. But what's good about Empire Flippers too, if anyone decides to sell later on, they charge 15% only on the business price, business sale price, not on the inventory, while the other broker was charging 10% flat on whatever you get paid. So inventory, not really losing anything. So it doesn't affect your even strategic planning and thinking whether I should buy more inventory while I'm in the process of sale. So now, to me, it was a no-brainer because I wanted to make sure the business doesn't run out of stock, let's say in December, right? So
So
yeah,
who who
I'm happy with Empire Flippers. If somebody wants an introduction, I'm happy to introduce you to my person, and I think they're doing a really good job. Very systemized.
Hmm,
Yeah.
that's good. Who ended up buying your business? Who's the person? Like, what do they? You don't tell the name, whatever. Like, is it a big company? Is it a single person? Like who buys Amazon FBA businesses? I guess.
Um, who buys is a big question. Everybody buys. There's some big companies who buy. Usually, businesses like mine are just too small scale for Thrasio or other companies like that, who have a portfolio of brands. So a lot of, but I did have some calls with companies like that.
Hmm.
Yeah, the offer that I accepted was from a family man around my age. Actually, he
Oh
already
wow,
has a kid and a wife, I believe, and I think his family co-invested, but he's the sole operator of the business.
wow.
And yeah, it's, to me it was a surprise too, because I didn't think of myself, like person like me, to be a potential buyer, but I think he's more like me, less a corporate face.
Does he? Is this his first Amazon business, or has he
Yeah,
had experience?
no experience, but he's been researching that for quite a while. He's quite um, computer literate, and he was when we talked, he was like, I was dreaming of owning a business like that for a while.
Mm,
I was trying to build something myself. To me, it was like too much to swallow, and I don't have that much time. I want some time for my family, so this is perfect. I'm happy that you built it this way. This is for me. That's what I wanted.
hmm. What so just for you guys to know, in the States I have something called a SBA loan. Is that the loan that is that what he got to
No,
buy the business?
no, I don't think. Well, to me, it was just straight up cash, all in one day, 2 days. So
Oh wow.
it's not something I had to wait for. So that's nice. But for him, I think his family just invested with him. That's why he was
Okay.
able to get it. But he would be able to qualify for an SBA loan because my business is incorporated in the States, so that makes it qualifiable.
Got it. And is he what's the transition period? Are you hands off now, or is there a commitment that you have to give to him? Because obviously now he's like thrown into this, like maybe he has questions. Who does he ask? Is there a transition period between you guys?
Yeah, there is a transition period, and I personally take it seriously. Like I believe in karma, so I did
Mm,
make sure that he knows everything he needs to know. And so now, basically, the closing happened a few days ago. I received all of the money. Realistically, whatever happens, I'm not going to suffer. But he still messages me from time to time, some questions, and I always respond as soon as I can because I want this business to grow,
of course, it's
right?
your
But
baby, right? You don't
yeah,
want to see it. Yeah.
I'd love to come into the store a few years from now and see my products in there because it's such a big brand and they sell so many different things that improve people's lives, right? And I'd be proud to know that I started it.
Hmm.
Another thing to note with Empire Flippers, they have a pretty interesting system, and in the end, there's a little bit of advantage for buyers to buy through them, and it's called inspection period. And the inspection period is basically when the buyer sends all the money to the brokerage. So he already paid for the business. He still has 2 weeks that he can use up entirely, or at any point he can say, "I'm good. We can proceed with the rest." And basically, once the inspection period ends, he says, "Yeah, I give you green light. You can send the payment to the seller." And in those 2 weeks, he can inspect everything he needs. It's basically an intense due diligence process. Ask me anything, check all the numbers. So as long as there are no grand misrepresentations, the business sold. But I feel like it makes that transition easier because me as a seller, I'm super motivated to make sure he's happy in those 2 weeks, right?
Hmm.
And then after that, we still have that 45 days commitment, I believe, when he can reach out to me some questions. If he needs, we can schedule calls. I don't remember formal commitment, whether it's like 5 hours a week or maybe 10, I'm not sure. But he doesn't take up even 5 hours for now, at least. And I think he already has full grasp of how to run the business. He actually has to deal with a lot now because the sales are like double the previous months.
Oh wow. Good
I'm
for
sure
him.
he's happy.
Yeah.
Like November, December, it's all his profits.
Yeah.
And looks like this December is going to be even better than the previous year's December. And previous year December was like 150K of sales in a month. So
Wow.
I'm sure he's excited.
Yeah, no, totally, for sure. Yeah, no, buying business is very interesting. Guys, I'm actually dropping a video on my YouTube channel either tomorrow or the day after on how to sell your Amazon business for $1 million. Okay. I break down all the math, all the numbers, all the stats. I literally work backwards. How many products you need, how much money each product needs to generate per day in revenue, in profit, and I work completely backwards. I recorded the video like a couple days ago, and I think it will actually give you guys a lot of clarity, and I give you guys a goal, right? And that's kind of what Andre did. Is he set a goal of 500,000, and then he called everybody and say, "Hey, how can I get my business to be sold for 500,000?" Then once he identified those goals, then he can actually go ahead and go execute. Um, so so yeah, I think I'm going to add that to the course because I really want a lot of you, all of you, to one day exit for $1 million. And I know that sounds maybe a little bit surreal, maybe a little scary. Maybe you're like, oh, that's BS, Tom, like whatever it might be. I'll tell you guys one thing that, like, if you believe that you can do it, you're already 80% there. because there's so many people out there that just don't even believe that they can even do it. If you don't believe you can do
Absolutely.
anything, then you will never do it. Like, period. So step one is to believe that you can. And then I'm gonna give you the math, give you the numbers, give you everything. And then that should be a North Star. I hope all of you can one day exit for $1 million. Then you'll be a millionaire, and that'll be very cool.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with you, Tom, here, because if you don't believe, you can't really do anything. And to me, even writing down 500,000 was a surreal goal. Like, I'm from Ukraine. For 50K, you can buy an amazing apartment in the capital of Ukraine. Like, my parents probably never made as much money in their entire life as I did with this exit, right? To me,
mhm,
it's significant, but now after this exit, it feels like it's not a big deal.
mhm,
It feels like, well, I could have set a goal like twice as much, 10 times as much, and I probably will moving forward, because the universe works in a weird way. I wrote down 500K. Why did it come up with that number? I just probably didn't feel that I could sell it for 1 million. That's
mhm,
probably it. That's the only
mhm,
difference. Because when I was selling, I had no idea it's going to be exactly 500,000.
mm.
It's just, I don't know, it's the magic of the universe probably, because I received that email about a week ago with all the total numbers. So you have to take into account how much inventory is left, how much commission I pay to the broker, how much everything, like all the profits that I still have to receive from the Amazon account by the, like, before the day of closing, stuff like that. And then I look at the total, it's like $500,238.05. And I sat like for 5 minutes looking at it thinking, why did I set a goal of 500,000? It's not even a thousand difference
Yeah,
in
that's crazy, man.
actuality. Like
That's insane.
like
You're like, shit, I should have put 10
impossible is
million or
nothing.
something.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I think that's absolutely true because guys, like, if you set a goal of 500,000, you're gonna operate at a $500,000 level. If you set a goal of 100,000, then you're gonna operate at $100,000 level. If you
Exactly.
if you and if you set a goal of 1 million, then you are going to operate at $1 million level. So whatever goal that you decide to set, right? And I want all of you to set $1 million, guys. I want to make you guys millionaires. That's what I truly, truly, truly would love to make you guys just millionaires. Um, I Dan, which is one of my good friends, he's through Amazon FBA. I pretty sure he's a millionaire now. Um, so that's one. But I want more. I want to make more millionaires out of this group, and that's going to be my personal goal for next year, and so on and so forth. So, Andre, I don't know what's the plan going forward. I guess now you got this money, $500,000 is it's a lot of cash. How are you planning on deploying the cash? How are you thinking about what you're doing with the money or the next steps and so on and so forth? Talk to us a little bit about kind of the future, I guess.
I haven't committed to anything yet, and I think I'll take it slow. Because first of all, I have to get used to having that cash. Secondly, I think I'll have to research
Mm,
uh, for a little bit and see what I want to do. Most likely, I'll use part of it and invest into something more passive, just so I know that if I launch something else, it doesn't go well, then I'm not going to be poor again, right? I'm not going to be at zero at least. And like what I've been doing is addictive. The time freedom, the location independence, and I was looking at other opportunities as I was going through the sale, and I couldn't see myself doing any other type of business, at least for the long term, than e-commerce. So I think I'll be back building another brand, something more impactful, something more scalable, and yeah, I'm just researching at this point.
yeah, no, for sure. What I'd like to recommend two things for you're probably doing already. My First Million, the podcast,
Yeah, I'm
and
listening to that one.
trends.co. Like, if you're looking for new ideas, I think the best place for you to find those new ideas are from those two places because those two guys, Sean and what's the other guy, Sam, they
Hmm.
brainstorm a lot of new ideas, and I love it. It's like braingasm for me. It's like brain porn. Like I get so I love it when I can think of a new idea. And I'm like, wow, like I never thought about that. Like people are actually making money from that. That's like super, super cool. And my brain literally is like a muscle, right? I can
True.
feel it getting stronger. So I think,
Yeah, I love those resources.
yeah, I think filling up your knowledge piggy bank is really important because one day so it's called My First Million. It's a podcast on iTunes or Spotify, My First Million. And then the paid group is called trends.co. If you guys actually want to sign up, guys, check the Facebook group. I have an affiliate link where I think it'll save you money and it'll give you a little bit of money as well, but it's a safe save, trends.co. I'll post it in the Facebook group. And then if you want to buy the yearly subscription through that, you save some money. So yeah. So okay. Andre, is there anything that you want to kind of talk about that I haven't asked? Is there any topic that you're like, I really want to share with the audience, or have I done a decent job at interviewing you?
I think you've done an amazing job
Woo!
interviewing me. I'd love to answer any questions people have because I don't want it to be about me. It's
Yeah.
like I believe in the law of attraction, and the more I give, usually the more I get.
Hmm.
It just happens naturally. So I'm happy to give here whatever questions you guys might have. I'm happy to answer.
Andre, you're also doing one-on-one calls, right? Like paid consultation.
I do, yeah. I don't want it to be too pressing on my time because I want to have enough time to think and brainstorm new business ideas. So I only have a
Hmm.
couple people right now. I'm not sure if I'd like to scale it yet. I enjoy working with those hardworking, goal-oriented people. I think they're on to something now. But yeah, I do.
Okay. Well, whenever you want more people, I can post your email and my students can get a hold of you to do some one-on-ones.
Yeah, it probably depends more on the person because I take it selfishly here. I want to help someone who's going to crush it. And when they do, I feel like I gain that energy from them too. And it kind of helps me get the energy to build my own thing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Awesome. Okay, guys, if you have any questions, please post it in the Q&A tab. I'm not going to read any questions in the comment section. Please put it in the Q&A tab, and then let's answer some questions. I don't want to take up, too much of time, but I will probably pick and choose kind of the better questions if there's too much. Uh Thank you so much for taking time to. Do you have other products you're selling on Amazon? Why did you decide to sell this business? How did you know it's the right moment? And how do you plan to use the 500K? I think we answered the last two, but do you have any other products you sell on Amazon? It's mostly like variations of the map as well as the frame, right?
Yeah, I think at the moment of sale, I had 12 SKUs, but three were on the way. So it'll be 15 SKUs if it's not already. So lots of variations, different models of the map. Map of the USA is another popular one. Um, yeah, if that's the question. But other than that brand, I didn't have any other Amazon businesses, any other products that I was selling.
Did you have like any VAs or employees for your business?
I did briefly for about 3 months, and I learned that at that point it didn't really make sense because I was spending more time training them than they were actually doing the job. And at the time of sale, I kind of determined that another expense isn't going to help with my multiple, so I didn't want to continue on.
Hmm. How do they value your business at 500,000? Was it a multiplication factor of your monthly or annual revenue?
Yes,
It's a profit, not on the revenue, on the profit.
on the profit. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't remember. Yeah, Quiet Light Brokerage uses annual profits, but I think Empire Flippers, they do it differently. They take the last few months and they average out your profits, and that's what they use for monthly multiple.
Hmm.
I don't remember the exact number. It was maybe 30 something multiple, but monthly multiple. But when I got the full payment, I looked at the numbers just out of my curiosity to know what multiple I actually got.
Hmm.
So at the time of accepting that offer, I think it was 3.35 or something like that of annual profits.
Wow, that's
Uh,
really good.
Yeah, here people
3.35.
sell it for less or more. That's probably an average, I would say, from what I hear. But it's not bad. And I've
Mhm.
now that I look at the numbers, I still have one app connected to it because I forgot to disconnect it. I can see all the sales. I'm like, Jesus, I should have sold it a month later.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Shit, that could have cost you a little bit. But then your manifestation would have never came true. You would have been like,
Yeah,
I
it'd
wrote
be more than
500, I
500.
got 750. What is this? This is a scam.
Exactly, doesn't work.
This is a scam. I'm never writing down these goals again. This
Right.
is
Yeah, I think I went with gut feeling more than rational decisions there, unfortunately. Or
mhm.
fortunately, I don't know.
Um, Chin asks, you mentioned that you had developed a very rigid inspection process after the failed batch. So what was the process?
Well, it's particular to the product. There are a few steps at different times of the printing process and pre-shipment quality inspection. So, in short, and not to confuse anyone, it's three stages for the maps, and it's just one stage for the frames because the frames are very simple. But the inspectors always use my very detailed spec sheet, and they have to check mark everything there, provide me pictures, videos, and everything. And they check quite a few units. In with the maps, they check, I think, 2 to 3% of all of the inventory, and it's like it has three stages, so at different times, at different stages of manufacturing process. So to minimize any risks, basically. And with the frames, it's just at the end, and they check up to 5%.
Got
So
it.
inspections I don't take lightly, and I spend quite a lot of money. I used to spend quite a lot of money on inspections, but I can sleep much better if I do that.
Did you patent your product at all, or trademark, or copyright, or anything like that at all? Or
Copyrighted designs are copyrighted. I don't think you can patent it at this point because as soon as the idea came out, I think somewhere in UK, there were so many sellers and other brands who were doing that immediately. So I don't think there's a patent for that.
hmm
Yeah, the
um,
differentiation is in design, and even if I move this to making everything in China, including maps, it's still the design that Travelization owns,
so you
and it's
copyrighted
actually
design.
an
You
yeah,
copyrighted design. How
yeah,
did you
sole
do that?
copyright.
Did you go through a lawyer, or what
Yeah,
did you do?
through a lawyer. So it's a similar process to trademarking. Same
Mhm.
USPTO is the organization who does it. Yeah, not too complicated, not too expensive. I don't
Awesome.
know how much power it has, but no one was copying my exact design, so that's good.
Awesome. Maybe they're all Chinese sellers. They're like, hey, Taiwan is one of these. We're not going to copy that design. That's a bad design.
Maybe.
How did you make sure to provide great customer service to your customers?
Responsiveness. I have a rule. I had a rule whenever I receive an email or message or anything, I respond within an hour. So even if I don't know, I meet someone, I excuse myself, I respond at least quickly that hey, I'll email you details later, but they receive it right away, and I think it makes a big difference. Usually the response right after that is like, oh, thank you so much for responding so fast. I really appreciate it. Amazing customer service. Even if I don't say much about the solution yet. So that's one thing. And I don't know. It's the way you talk to the customers. You thank
Mhm.
them. You express interest. Let's say they're in Michigan. You can be, oh, how's weather there? I hope you're doing good. Whatever, like
It's
COVID
like talking to
stuff.
like a friend, right?
Yeah, be like you're right. Just being their buddy, and as soon as you turn that mode, they know that they're dealing with a real human being. It's not a robot or I don't know a Chinese seller who doesn't understand their life issues whatsoever,
Mhm.
right? So yeah, and I feel like that's the main reason I had so many good reviews because usually people don't submit good reviews because they bought a product they like it. It has to be something outstanding.
Yeah,
If they
yeah,
don't
for
like
sure.
it, they usually submit a review. But if they don't, 5-star reviews naturally happens only if it's a wow factor. Something happened that they didn't expect. And
Yeah,
I was
for
trying
sure.
to do that as much as possible with that insert and that follow-up sequence in the managed chat that gives them so much value after the purchase, with a Facebook group, with a packaging, with the actually my story in the packaging itself. Later on, I turned it into a digital format too, but they still know who they deal with. I feel like it's all important. It's not about the physical product, it's the experience that matters.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember when I first started my Amazon business, and I would get like customer service emails at like a 10 p.m. on a Friday evening on my app, and I would literally respond within 30 seconds. I just open my phone and respond, and people are like, "Holy shit! Like, this is crazy. This is the best customer service we've ever gotten." And we will get reviews we'll get reviews on our listing, not because of our product, but because of our customer service. They're
Right
like,
on.
yeah. So I highly recommend all of you to, do that. And always ask for reviews as well. If the customer get a good experience, don't be afraid to ask, because without
Yeah,
asking, you never
exactly.
receive. Just be like, hey, we're a small family business. We're competing on Amazon with all these big brands. Like, it would mean a lot if you take 2 seconds out of your day to give us a 5-star, or give us a review. I don't think you can say 5-star reviews anymore, but just give us a review, honest review. Like, it helps. It really does.
Oh yeah, if you
Um,
don't ask, they will not submit a review.
yeah, for sure, for sure. Let's see what else we got here. I guess, yeah, like after your research, why did you choose the map? You said you like looked for 100 products. Why the map?
I could see myself improving what was on the market, and at that
Mm,
point, all the competition was pretty much low quality Chinese maps. I feel like after Travelization popped up, quality overall in the industry went up. But at that time, I could see that, hey, they're really selling shitty products.
mm,
Like, I wouldn't like to have this map, and they sell well. So it was
mm,
a clear sign to me that there's opportunity. And I studied architecture back in Ukraine, and I feel like I'm fairly well versed visually. I can distinguish good design from not good design, and
mm,
I'm very particular about what's good, what's consistent, about branding, packaging, and everything. So I feel like I knew, like looking at the product, I knew that I can make it better. And if I do, then it's a viable business.
mm,
Looking at something else, something generic, I couldn't improve. Uh, Now looking back, I'm grateful I didn't do that, because it'd be a disaster. Next day, somebody pops up with a better price for the exact same thing. How do you compete? It has to
mm,
be different. It has to be better.
mm.
So I could see
Absolutely.
potential to improve it. That was the main reason, and there were enough sales. So basically, my rule of thumb is look for where there's demand. If demand's good and it's fairly evergreen, to me, the niche is home decor. Home decor is evergreen, and if you know how to stand out, that's the way to go. If you don't research and you still see no way to stand out and make it better, it's risky. You
Mm,
may be able to outmarket them, out Amazon them, the other sellers, but uh, if somebody else comes in and they have better marketing skills, you're done. So
mm,
ideally you want to be better in some way, and you want to that 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 part that you make better has to be important to customers too. And usually when you read 1-star reviews and 5-star reviews too, you can easily distinguish, oh, actually for people who buy these maps, it's important, let's say for flag sections to be there. If there are no flags, it's not worth the money for them. But if there are flags and all the flags are correct, it's only the sovereign countries, independent countries, no bullshit flags, then they would appreciate that. They'd be happy with it, you know? And then you start picking up these things and you determine, oh, these are top, let's say 3 that are important for your customers. You make sure your product has all these top 3 important things, and you communicate it super well in the listings. So people who are looking for that product, they know, oh, actually this one is the only one who has solved all of these problems, and that's why it's perfect for me.
mm, great answer. So I think some people are asking about, like, if I want to sell my business one day, should I just launch any sort of products that makes me money, aka a general store, or should I launch a brand, aka a specific store? Um, I think Andre and I can speak for Andre. Like, if you guys want to get the best multiple on your business when you go sell, you should build a brand, because the buyer of that business is going to be very different buyer than someone who's willing to buy like a general store. So those are the buyers you want. You want buyers to buy brands because they can offer you higher multiples. And with brands, there's more things you can do with them. Facebook group, this and that. If Andre was selling everything from a kitchen knife to cell phone cases, it would be pretty hard to build a Facebook group around that.
Yeah, true. Unless it's a group for freebies.
Yeah, and what is a brand? A brand is just servicing one type of customer, right? So
Exactly.
yeah, it's a customer that are essentially buying them. Like, think of Lululemon. Like, who's buying Lululemon things, right? Who's buying, I don't know, like Lamborghinis? Who's buying um iPhones, who's buying, like there's a very specific avatar of people that are buying these brands, and that's how you build a brand. But
Yeah, I always question that myself too, Tom, because I see some people killing it and selling random stuff that just makes sense money
mhm,
wise, and I'm not against that. Money is money, and it's important to be in the profitable niche. But because I was curious, I sent an email the day I got the money to the buyer and asked him, "Hey, can you give me an honest answer? Why did you end up buying this business? There are so many different businesses listed for sale. Why you chose this one?" I'm like, I want to share, and maybe I'll be able to share with others, and it's going to help them too. And he gave me quite an elaborate response there.
mhm,
And if you want, I can read a couple of things that stood out to me that I think are touching
yeah,
upon the question here.
yeah,
So the buyer said there are three main things: one, product business quality; two, uh, brand building; three, profitability, age, and simplicity.
mhm,
And I can quickly cover the first two. They're short. Three is fairly self-explanatory. So one,
mhm,
product quality. The review ratings across all your products are fantastic. This is a huge factor in continuing to make product sales, obviously. But it also told me as a buyer that you take quality and customer experience very seriously. I assume that this attention to detail and quality would be seen all throughout the business, and was not disappointed.
mhm,
Two, brand building. So maybe it's in the order of priority, maybe not, but it was important for him. He says, your product images, website design, store design, and product design really built a strong brand image and identity. While this might not matter to quite as much to a huge buyer that would just add these products to their management portfolio, it matters very much to a single entrepreneurial buyer such as myself. I saw real care, passion, and value in the brand that you created, and I could see its growth potential. I was looking for more than just profitable products on Amazon. Yeah,
that's
and
awesome.
profitability, age, and simplicity. That's like, yeah, you know what he means there. It has to be profitable, obviously, for it to be called a business.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, awesome, Andre. There's a lot of questions, but I just, yeah, I think at this time we covered the main things. I think we covered most of it. But I just want to say thank you for taking the time out of your night and doing this for my students. And hopefully you guys are encouraged uh by this interview. And I really hope you guys are motivated. And I think if there's one thing that you guys can do tonight after this call is to write down $1 million somewhere. Okay. Write that down. Post it in the Facebook group. I want to see it because one day that writing will become reality. Okay. Or $3 million.
100%.
Shit. I don't know. You guys can write down whatever amount of money, but $1 million. And if you're scared to write it down, then you should definitely write it down. Okay.
Agreed there.
You should
Thanks for
definitely
having me,
write it
Tom.
down. Absolutely. Well, guys, Andre, if anybody want to kind of follow you, your journey and what, like, where can they follow you? You're pretty active on Instagram, I think.
Oh yeah, I'll love hanging out with like-minded people. If you guys want to stay in touch, I'm on Instagram, just my name, Andri Sadlak. Facebook, same. I have a YouTube with 2 videos, and I plan to post more. So subscribe. And I'm about to share the story about this sale. And if you have more questions that didn't get answered here, feel free to post them somewhere on my last Instagram post on Facebook, because I'd like to cover them all in my YouTube video that's coming.
Yeah. So his name is Andre Sadlock. You can see the name underneath him. So write that down. Okay. Awesome, guys. Well, I hope you guys had a great time listening to this. Thank you so much for hopping on the call. I know it's Thanksgiving for many of you in the States. Turnout is a little lower than expected, but it is Thanksgiving, so people got a family stuff to do. But like I said, thank you so much for your time, Andre. I really appreciate it. And yeah, send me your address. I'll send something nice your way. I'll send
Thank you,
a
Tom.
I'll send a dog lick pad his way. What do you guys think? Should I send a dog lick pad? Do you know what that is? No, it's an inside joke. So what the hell is this? I don't have a dog. Just kidding. All right, guys. Well, thanks,
Yeah.
Andre. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay. Have a good night, everybody.